Good morning, welcome to today's stream. Not been on for a couple of days. Football's been on and had a bit of a crazy weekend on beer, so need to have a look at a fresh outlook on charts this morning and see what's going on. But we will wait for a few people to jump on the stream and then we'll crack straight on, and we'll start off by doing some price analysis on Bitcoin as we always do. We'll then run through some of the majors like Ethereum, VeChain, Polkadot, and then we'll jump into a bit of Q&A towards the end as usual. Good morning to everybody in the chat. Like I say, we'll wait for a few to jump on them and we'll crack straight on. Let me know where you're from in the world this time of day. Smash that like button and we'll get a few people in. Right, anyway, let's get cracking. We've got 30 people in here now, so we'll get cracking and see what's going on. So this here is Bitcoin. Pretty much since the 19th of May, we have been range bound using 30k as support, should I say 31k there. I mean, we dropped our way down to pretty much $30,000 on the nose before we pop back up. This is a Binance chart, so some charts are slightly different. But yeah, we have used 31k twice as support. Been up and tested a high range here at 40,800, and then we've been pretty much glued to this middle range for a long time now, using it as support and resistance. If you look at the amount of wicks that have touched this centre line, both as resistance and support, is crazy. So that central line is where all the action has been, but we used it as consolidation for a while now. We used this area here for about 2 or 3 days. We were glued to it, and then last night, Sunday, well, late Sunday afternoon, we did get that price action that we were looking for, and we have popped to the upside. I mean, in terms of a percentage from the bottom there up to the current highs, we're on a 15% move, so that's a substantial move, but we've got one key area to break through first. I think this 40,800 region, if we do close a daily or 4-hourly candle above that, I think it will be massive, and then we'll go on to test some other levels. If you're looking at this region, we've not closed a daily candle above that since that drop pretty much on the 19th of May, and that's coming up to like 3-4 weeks. So I'm expecting that we don't break through it, to be honest. We still could be in for a period of consolidation, but who knows? I mean, there's a lot of shorts in play at the minute, so there's always that possibility that we could tap this region again and sink our way down to the bottom at 31k. But we have tested it twice already, and it has held up as support very well. If you go back in time, look how well this region held up as support last time. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, about 8 wicks through that. They did slightly close below on the 4-hour, on the daily too, but we pushed up, and that to me shows it is a solid area of liquidity. And if we do get that opportunity to open any longs again, I think that would be the area there, or this region here. There's a good potential that we might come up, test this 40k region, drop back down to this mid-range and then push on through. That's a potential scenario that could happen, but depends what goes on in terms of breaking through. If we do break through this, then I might be looking for a potential long, but I'll be waiting for the breakthrough, the retest, and then I might be looking for a long that way. But let's see. I mean, the markets are very uncertain times at the minute. There's quite a bit of fear in the market. If we're just looking at a market fear and greed, see what's saying. Listed it was 28 yesterday. Still at 28 now, so it is still quite uncertain, but considering last week was in extreme fear at 15%, we have managed to recoup a little bit. He's on no sound. Surely you can hear me. Can everybody hear me in the chat? Showing not a sound from my end. It must be on your end, mate. You're back. Cool. Sound. Right, so Fear and Greed Index looking okay. Don't do that to me. That'd have been a bit of a nasty start to the stream, wouldn't it? So yeah, in terms of BTC, there's a couple of scenarios. We either push through this 40,800 region, break through, and then they might look for a retest. I mean, we could even, if you look at these wicks here, around here, that could be the area we test again before we reject. So we got 42,400. So let's just put a box on that region. So that could be a potential area that we do test, reject off it, come back down and retest the highs of this this area before we do push on. So if that happens, what I will do is potentially look at opening a long, but nothing yet. I mean, I'd only have a tight stop loss around 5%, and then I'd probably go up and target that 45k region around these wicks here. So that is a potential setup if the market does allow, if we do break through that. So it is all dependent whether we break through that 40,800 region. Test these wicks here, reject back to that previous resistance, and then see if we can target these regions up here at 45,600. So that's a potential setup there. Throughout this entire dip, I've still remained my bullish thesis. I think in general we do know that when things are going up hard, you always have that possibility that things can dump just as hard, and that's what's happened. I mean, we wasn't well overextended. I mean, from 20k. I mean, if you look back to March here, that's when we had that COVID dump around here, and we've been on such a massive period of growth. And if you look at these wicks here, we had a big retracement here. Obviously not as savage as now, but we had a 30% drop there. 26% drop there. We had big drops on the way up, so you get what I mean. I mean, and this was about to come down at some stage. We had that FUD that brought everything down, but as I say, there were a lot of new people in the market, and that added to a lot of fear, and the market did end up dying off. But we're having this range now where I think it is that accumulation period. I think if you're a big player in the space and you're looking to get in, or you've been looking to get in around these areas, I think you would be buying within this range now. I think it's a solid region to look at to buy. So that's pretty much my thoughts on BTC so far. We're either going to have a break to the upside, or we're going to reject off this 40k region and then come back down to 35. So two setups there. Let's just monitor and see how it goes. I'll have a look at it in a bit, mate. I'm not too sure what it is, but I'll have a look. So that's BTC pretty much covered. Looking at Ethereum first, similar scenario here. We didn't get quite a significant pullback as we did with a lot of alts. What do we have? What, about 60%? Yeah, 60% on those. A lot of alts did 78% drop, and this held up quite well. I mean, dropped all the way down to this region at 1,700 bucks, which was an absolute steal if you managed to pick some orders there. But same scenario here with Ethereum. We are range bound within these two ranges now. It's dropped to 4 hours, a little bit better. Clinging on to its middle range like his life depends on it. I mean, we've used this area support pretty much solid all the way through. Double bottom here, pop back up, retested those highs at 2,900, rejected, back down to middle support here, 2,200, pop back up, come back down again and test it. So we do know that Ethereum's pushing on. I think what's going on here, I should have said what BTC is doing. I think what's going on here is Bitcoin is trying to regain some market dominance. So that's why you're not seeing such a big reaction off Ethereum yet, because I think everything else is slightly down. Some pairs are doing well. I mean, Zilliqa's had a nice pop back, but in terms of BTC dominance, I think we are trying to regain some market dominance, which over the entire cycle, I think it's good. I think that if it just kept dropping down and down like it has been doing, look at that. I mean, it's just been pretty much a lead balloon. We've actually bounced off this 40% region here, which we bounced off them, and it was time to pretty much regain some momentum. So there's a possibility that BTC could go in a run over the next 4 to 6 weeks and push back up towards its 52% region. So this is a potential setup if BTC does go in a run. We've obviously come down, done this major parabolic drop to the downside. Obviously we're coming back over. We're going to test this 46% region. If we do break through that, I think we're going to come back up here to between 52 and 57%. Can't see us going any higher than that, to be honest. So we've done that major drop. We've now found a bottom. We're retracing. I think we're going to come back up to around 52% and then carry on dropping like that throughout the rest of the year. Probably down towards, who knows, down to these regions somewhere. I think we will lose that level at some point. So let's just leave at arrow 1 and see what until it's change of colour, because we'll end up lose what's going on. We'll leave at arrow 1 and just monitor it over the next few weeks and see if BTC does start to go on a push. I think this is a good scenario that could happen. I mean, there's also that possibility we could come back up here. if you look at this area around here, we had a lot of trading, and we use this area as support also. I think it's wise that we do come back up, test that region before ultimate death. And altcoins going a massive run towards pretty much August to December time. I think that might be a time when we really see some growth. So that's Ethereum pretty much covered. 4-hour time frame, yeah, clinging on to that middle line. I think if you're looking for some buys, I think that's a solid region to buy at 2200. And then once BTC has done its thing, then we've got to go up and test this region at 2900. If we do break out, we're going to go up and test this region at around 3500. But that's the first major area. I think it is lagging behind BTC a little bit so far. So that's that covered. I just noticed that Zilliqa's on a bit of a charge today. %11 up. Similar scenario for all altcoins and pretty much BTC. All are range bound. We lost this level quite a few times. The mid range for most alts is looking like a solid area to cling on to. So as you can see, we rejected off that area multiple times. And now it looks like we're coming back up to test it. So I think that is the first area where we're going with what we've done today. 21% since that bottom down at 9 cents. So that's the first area to target. Maybe if you're looking to do a little bit of leverage trading, you could potentially open a short from this region. Maybe a higher leverage short between 5 and 10 and try and target back down towards these wicks. But have your stop loss in place around 5%, just in case we do bust through them and go up and test this higher region. Let's see how the week plays out though, to be honest. Let's see what goes on. Would you get some Gzil for Zilliqa? Yeah, you do. Yeah, if you stake in Zilliqa, you do get Gzil for it. If you use, I were using stake.zilliqa, I think you're wrong. I'm actually not staking Zil at the minute. I might go back into it, to be honest. I'm still holding my Zil bag, but yeah, that's where you should stake. I connect my Zil Pay to that. You can also do it on your ledger on Zillit as well if you want. But yeah, you get Gzil for that. I'm not sure how much longer is left of Gzil, maybe about a year. Will Binance fold up at the end of the year like Cheek? No, fuck what Chico Crypto says. Binance will not fold. It's the biggest exchange in the world. If you've got any projects you want me to cover, just fire them in the comments. I'll look at Tencent now for you, Jose. Tencent. So we do know about previous to the Gate.io listing, we did pump up to 638. I managed to sell my bag actually down here around $5.15. I saw that Gate.io listing coming in. It wasn't the best, to be honest. As in, I mean, the exchange is decent, but it just wasn't the best in terms of going any further on. We do know that when we get these exchange listings, it can either it's a do or die scenario, and this has pretty much done a massive retracement. If you look at the double bottom here, we've hit those highs and we retrace. I mean, we're coming, what are we now at? God, we're at $1 and also at $2.50. Solid project long term, but you just have to be wary of some of these deflationary assets. Don't be wary of this one, but remember there's a lot of deflationary assets out there, and I think deflation is not the best way to go. But in terms of this now, I think if you're looking at this region here, that's the bottom of that last move around here. So essentially, if you could fill some orders down at $2 on my nose, I think if you fill some up at $2, that'd be a solid buy. But in terms of take profits, I mean, you need to be looking at this wick here for the first one. Right on that wick. So potential buys down at $2 and look at selling at $4.28 to either accumulate or monitor price and see what goes on. Is there in a bearing scenario market goes lower than 30s? Yeah, there's always that possibility, isn't there? I mean, personally, I'm bullish. but there's always that chance that we get some crazy ass FUD that brings us down. I think if we did lose that 30k region, we'd probably come down to this region at around 23, 24. Personally, I can't see it coming, but I've not got a crystal ball, and if there's some big players wanting in cheaper, there could be some more orchestrated FUD and some fresh Bitcoin sent to exchange to dump. So just be wary of that. There's always a possibility we can go lower. Personally, I'm remaining bullish until we do break below that. So fingers crossed we do manage to stay above water and break through that $40,800 region. CHSB. I'm holding some CHSB. If you look at, if anyone's not looked into CHSB before, it's the token of Swissborg. It's decent. I'm a premium member. You have to lock up 2,000 CHSB tokens, and you get a decent rate. So about 1.5% extra rate than normal standard user would get. So I'm earning 12% per day on USDC over here. Oh, we got CHSB on here. So I'll look at daily first. I'm guessing that wick was a error. I don't think it went down to those levels. Yeah, downtrending at a minute, aren't we? So I mean, for me, it's high here. We are pretty much downtrending, so we've got a lot of wicks within that region. So what we're looking for is a break above that, but I think it's at a solid price now. So look at the entire move. Usually, if we lose that 618 level, we do use that 50%. So that 786 fib is a nice support level. So if you're looking for buys, I would bang them right on that 58 cent region. I think that's a solid region to place some orders there. We've had quite a few wicks down. Ignore that wick. I'm not sure what that was. Possibly a fault or a glitch in the matrix. Somebody caught the sun right off, mate. I've been in gardens up in beer all weekend, so my hay fever's absolutely battered me, so I sound like I've got a cold. But yeah, CHSB 58 cent I think is a decent area to buy. I mean, if you have that downtrend there, and we also have a possibility here of a potential break to the upside here, come back down, retest that trend line, and then push back on. I'm hopefully we're going to see that with a lot of alts soon. Hopefully that we do start to break through the downtrends and push on. But yeah, I'd be buying anything at 58 cent there. Morning, Steve, buddy. What do you think of Pancake Swap? But APR stake is ridiculous. I've not even looked at it, to be honest, mate. Pancake Swap's a decent DEX to use, to be honest, but I've not looked into any other staking. If it's offering a ridiculous APR, it's usually too good to be true, isn't it? But if you can manage to get in and get some rewards and get in and get out. 90% APR. I mean, I've seen a lot worse than that. I've seen like fucking 9,000 APR, so 90%, yeah, it is a lot, but it'll drop down eventually. I think a lot of them you get some of these people putting out yield rewards massive at the beginning, a bit like ERSDL. They said 1,000%, didn't they? And then everybody got like 1%. So what they give out is not exactly what I say, is it? 1 inch. What time frame are you looking on, mate? I'm not a massive fan of patterns, to be honest. I can't see any head and shoulders there unless you're looking on this lower time frame here. Maybe like that. Maybe if you're looking like that, potentially, but like I say, I'm not it looks like a penis that more than anything, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm shit at patterns. Great Barrier Reef. How you doing, mate? Let's have a look at Theta. I've heard that's been doing well recently. Yeah, it's on a nice rise there. So what's going on here? Last time I did some TA on this, I was looking at these higher lows that were being formed, and we was forming an uptrend, but we actually dropped below it. But that is still a higher low there. So we are creating higher lows on the way up. Obviously the uptrend was slightly broken into, but they're very I mean, you could manipulate a fucking trend line like that, or you could say it's uptrending now. So, but yeah, in terms of Theta, we're on a nice bit of a rise here, aren't we? First major area to break through is this up here. I mean, if you look at this wick here, anywhere from 9 up to 10 cent. If you broke above 10.52, and that's the first major area, I'd say. But yeah, we're on a good rise here currently. Not got any range lines on here, have we? Not been much rain bound really, has it? I mean, it's just been pushing to the upside. Double top forming here, so you might get some buys back down at this region. I think this was a mid-range when I had the range set up. Maybe if you're looking for some buys, I'd place them around that region. Essential setup is from this bottom up to the top, come back down, retest that 382 level, and then go up and test this region. Let's see if that plays out. Do you have a look at Polkadex? No, I'm not. Let's have a look at Polkadex. Is it trading yet? Let's Morning, Dan, mate. Yeah, I'll have a look at VeChain in a second. So I'll wait for that solid. Let's have a quick look at VeChain. I'll have a look. Oh, it's Fibonacci on of the day. Over the entire move since it lows at 6.5 cent. And we've pretty much used that 61% retracement as that support region there, and we are pushing up back up to mid-range now. Hopefully that has now flipped to support and we can start to push on. Not much of a bounce arrow compared to Zilliqa. Zilliqa's had a good run at 10%. If we flip this to support, might be a good region if we do start pushing back up to 11.9 cent to put some longs in at 11 cent on my nose. In terms of price analysis, not much going on though. Glued to that mid-range, we've lost it a few times, gone above it a few times and come back to retest that region. So a lot of alts, like I said, are glued to that range now, and we've flipped it back to support. So let's see if we can, if a market, or should I say Bitcoin, goes on a rally and starts pushing above 40k, it's going to inevitably drag the alts up in the US dollar pairs, so we might come back up to test this 15 cent range too. Nobody wants to find Polkadex for me. I'll have a look at that one up here. I'll write it down, Polkadex. Right, what else do we have? One. How many one? Dying off a bit, ain't it? We've actually... What's going on here? So looking at daily. that shite. So yeah, what's going on here? In terms of price action, it's not looking good. We just continually to drop. I mean, if you ignore that wick to the upside, still downtrending. You could even say it's from there. It's not looking the best there, is it? In terms of the entire move, let's have a look where we are. Lost that 618 level over the entire move from that dip in February. Done some massive rises. I mean, how much did we jump up? Yeah, over 1000%, and now done quite a nasty retracement. Not much volume, I'm taking it. So look at volume. Yeah, volume is declining constantly, so it's not looking too good there, to be honest. You need some more volume to come back in and push it up. I think if you're looking for buys, don't want to say it, but you might even be able to look back down at this region again, 0.6. But long term fundamentals are solid, aren't they? So if you do manage to pick some up, we've already wicked down to there once. There's a good potential that it could wick down again. Let's see if this move to the upside here materialises though. If you're wanting to get in soon, you might get a retest to that 0.78 level. Could be a region to buy. Okay, we've got a break above here, haven't we? I think a break out of this downtrend is what we're looking for. We've tried once there. So I think if you did break above 9 cent, I think things might start looking a little bit better. Morning, Scott. Can I have a look at Dent? This looks savage, doesn't it? Fuck. I don't look a very nice chart, does it? 90% drop. Looks like it's hanging around this area. If you look at this area of liquidity that we traded in, I've traded in this region for around 2 weeks, probably less than that, 10 days. And that's where we built them blocks for that major rise up, but we've come back down, and I think we are pretty much held within this area of liquidity. So if you're looking for buys, I think this is a region. Just drop into a 4 hour. I think we're range bound pretty much. Yeah, not much going on there as well. In terms of that's a high range, that's for lower range, and probably that's around the middle range there. Where we rejected off that a few times, acted as support. We've actually lost that mid-range. We need to come back up and cling on to that 0.0037 region. If you're looking for some buys, you never know. If the market does get shaken out, you could get some buys back down at that region before we come back up and test a high region. But that key area around here, we need to get back above that and cling on. Otherwise the market's going to drag it down even further, to be honest. Polygon. So it seems like we're broken out of that downtrend now. So that's a good sign there. Looks a bit nasty, that Rick. I remember when we had that massive drop, Polygon pretty much recovered quicker than any other asset. It was bullish around that time. Every man and his dog were buying it. We jumped up 220%. Been pretty nasty since then. We pretty much lost that 618 level over in time move. Now, I was looking for buys. I've not got any Matic. and I was looking to buy some if we did pop down to that $1.10 region, and we've got to about 115 and pop back up, and we've broke out of that downtrend now, back above that 618 level. So all in all, things aren't looking too bad there. Need to push above this region really. I think if we do manage to push above this region here, we're going to test that region next, but that's the last time we traded within that area. Put a line there, so that's the first area to break through. If this move does continue going up, we'll put that Fibonacci on there. I mean, you could look at buys back at 139 and 130, so you're looking for a potential move like this up, test that region where we've tested last time, get a rejection back on that 382 level, and then go back up and retest it again for 163. But let's see if it can do that. Why do you think the CFO resigned suddenly? Who's the CFO? I used to have a Dow Jones on here. If it breaks, you reckon it'll affect. Is that right, chart? You're looking for a break to a downside or break to the upside? Not too sure, to be honest, mate. I'm not massive into that side at finance world, so I just tend to look at BTC and let that run my party. Morning level up. Alright, I get you. I wonder how much it'll affect BTC. I'd have to have a look at what effects it's made in the past, if it's been positive or negative, but I can't really comment on that, to be honest, mate. I'm not too sure. Yeah, I always remember looking at the stock market. It can be correlated, can't it? I think I used to look at the S&P 500, and whenever that were flipping to either way, it did have an effect on BTC at some stage. I remember watching the DXY too as well. Whenever that were doing poorly, and BTC were doing good as well. So I mean, it's pushing up a minute now, which obviously XRP going crazy, is it? Oh, crazy. It's not really, not much going on, is it? Check out Firo. You got a chart on button, trading view. It's a nasty chart as well, doesn't it? 80% drop. Not got much data on this really. We've only got data since January, haven't we? Need to get some decent music for a stream actually. I'm listening to some absolute shite here, but last time I put some music on, got loads of copyright shite against me. I need to find some royalty free stuff somewhere. What's going on with microcaps now? Not much, to be honest. I think it's a case of waiting out on BTC. I said at the beginning of the stream we need to break above 40,800. but this is what we're mainly looking at. I think that because we've had such a significant drop on Bitcoin dominance, really had no recovery, and I think we're going to go back up and test this region at 52%. Once that's happened, BTC probably back up towards 60-70k, and then we can start to get a bit of sell off and all go into alts. ETH is taking a breather here. What's quite positive actually for what I didn't mention on Bitcoin is that the fact that the last 3 weekly candles, if you look on a weekly chart, we don't have volume now. Let's change the candles to what it should be. The last 3 candles have been green for BTC, which is good. Hopefully, currently on a green candle. I mean, let's hope we can get another closure on this weekly candle too. What's the monthly saying? The monthly candle is currently green as well, so fingers crossed we can maintain that position. But let's go back to normal colours. It does, Kane. That's exactly what it sounds like. Actually, need to have a look at KSM. So KSM, let's have a look. Zoom out here. It didn't do such a major drop as other alts, but as you can see now, we're pretty much trending up. So that's a good sign so far. We're actually creating some higher lows, so a higher low here, higher low, higher low, higher low here. So in terms of structure, that's looking quite good. If you're looking for some buys, I would pretty much look at this region at around $400. $400 is a nice region. Let's move that down to there. So that's some decent areas to buy. Trending up now. In terms of targets, first one to break through is this region here. If you look at them, we're quite a lot of trading in that range there. So that's first major region to break through, about 450. I think once we do break above that, we can look at breaking 530, and then we've obviously got them highs up at 628. So in general, things are looking good. With all auctions coming up soon, so yeah, fingers crossed that can start to push up. I'm holding a little bit of KSM, not too much. I'm holding more Polkadot than that. Zeo Storm, thanks for that, mate. BQXUSD. What's that been up to? Has it been up to about $10? Well, I've got $15 on Binance. I'm not sure if it went up to. I'm sure it went up to about $10, but back to the daily. I was looking for this last time. I think last time we had a bit of structure building here. Was in a downtrend, and we popped to the upside, and that's when we created them yearly highs. Obviously, we're downtrending currently. Now we're looking at this area to break out of that downtrend. We have broken out of it, but we're still under that pretty much that downtrend. So that is the first major area to break through. It's not looking too good there. Still trending down. If you look at the entire move, pretty much glued to that 786 level. Not many closures below it, so that's showing that as a solid sign of support. And if you look all the way through, used it as support a lot around there. So I think that's a bottom, to be honest. 222, I think that's a bottom. Should break out through here soon, but in terms of where it should be, it's massive in US, isn't it? And I think it's just going to keep growing. And once it does eventually push into Europe and the rest of the world, I think the all-time highs will be smashed at some stage, and you're talking well above $10 and well above there. You're probably more looking towards that $20 region at some stage, but just have to break out of this downtrend and start to regain some momentum, because I'm taking it the volumes on its arse too. Yeah, pretty much zero volume there. It's just steady away, and people are getting impatient and selling off, aren't they? When is the best time to buy Bitcoin for the long term? Sorry if you already covered this. Just personally, I'd just buy it around now. Remember, there's always that possibility it could go lower. That's just what happens in investing. If you're looking for some buys, though, it depends really. There's going to be a couple of scenarios I've got set out. First scenario I've got is that we break through 40k, come up and test this range at 42.5 and then drop back down and retest this region. Also a possibility that we come back down and test this region at 35k or 31k, but if you're just buying for long term, inevitably it's going to go up. This run is not over. So even if you do buying at these regions and you see your dollar balance dropping off, I won't worry about it, because you still own the same amount of Bitcoin. So yeah, I think it's long term, I'll be buying at these prices. If you're wanting to get a better rate, maybe wait to see what happens here. If we do break through, you might get a retest of this region, or if we don't break through and we reject off this region, we're going to come back down to here, I think. So let's just wait and see what goes on. If we do break through this region here at 40,800, we might reject off here, and I'm looking for a long within this range. So I'm just leaving this on just to monitor and see what goes on. What are your thoughts on Icon ICX presently? Never looked into it, to be honest, mate, so can't really give any thoughts on that. Let's have a look how Caps is doing. 78% retracement, that's pushing up. That's one of my favourite projects at the minute, a new one. It's only been out about 3 weeks, so if you're looking for a project to look at, a new one, check out Turnover, ticker Caps, CAPS. But we won't talk much about that today. That's what we're looking at. So I've mentioned this on my live stream a few times. This is a website called aggr.trade, and it's got all the major buys and sells on exchanges, but this is a new version. This is a V3. I'll drop the link in the comments. I don't think it's fully implemented at this yet, but I'm going to be something I'm going to be monitoring for a while and see what's going on here, because reach for, yeah, so I'm not looked into all this data yet, but it looks like a cool setup. Price currently hovering around 39k. This is going to be the biggest bull run in history. I tend to agree with you, mate. How's the chart for ICX? Not the best, to be honest, is it? Glued to that 786 level, which was the top of that move there, so that is, for me again, I think that's the bottom. Can't see going any lower on that unless we get a major market shakeout. If you look at this region here, we rejected off that region a lot, and then used it as support to bounce up for that major move up. Actually used that level of support a lot, probably 5, 6, 7 times. Actually lost that level now, but we're coming back up to retest it. I think it needs to regain that level. It needs to close above that region to get back up. But I think if it rejects off here more than 2 or 3 times, it's going to go a bit lower, to be honest. Currently 92 cent. I think if you're looking for any buys and it does continue to go down, I'd target some buys at that wick down there at 79 cent. Could be a decent region for you to potentially target. Anybody sells alts to BTC when dominance goes up now until. I mean, that's always a good way to make to accumulate if you're monitoring my BTC.D chart. There's always a possibility that we can push right back up. That's what this is a setup I've got. There's a good chance that we could come back up here. So ultimately, altcoins in the BTC pairings might start to lose value, but the dollar values will go up. If you're looking to accumulate BTC, then yeah, sell some alts into BTC, ride that back up, and then sell back into alts, and then ride it down. But personally, I'm not. I have got a little bit of BTC on my side in case the alts do take a battering. But yeah, for now I'm not bothering. I can't be asked. I still have monitoring charts each day. I'm just gonna hold mine and see what goes on. Do you think how many will break out this year? Yes, it will. I think most alts will break out this year, but currently just in a bit of a consolidation period, aren't we, really? I think BTC is going to break up at some point over the next few weeks. Just in Chop City right now, aren't we? What do you think about Cardano? I've never invested in Cardano, only the fact that I prefer Polkadot. I think similar kind of projects, but I just think Polkadot's a lot more rounded and I prefer it. So I never actually owned any Cardano. Never really looked into it as much. I should have looked into it more than I have, but I've just preferred the Gavin Wood style of things. Right, I think that's going to do today anyway. Covered quite a few altcoins there. Set up on BTC, let's leave that on and see what goes on here. A couple of scenarios, we're either going to break to upside or reject and come back down to here. So I'll leave it on. If we do break to upside, I'm going to open a long from 40,800. If we do come back down and retest it. So yeah, I think that's going to be the thing to watch for now. Let's see if we can get USA waking up later on and driving a bit more money into the market, and hopefully we can get a bit of a breakout across the board. So yeah, thanks everybody tuning in today. If you're new to this channel, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that like button. I will catch you next time.